What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we finally have the information of Treasure Map Garp. Dude, it feels like it's been ages since we've had like an event come out, or just any news really, for Global anyways. So we're finally getting some news today, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down some free-to-play teams for you guys to take on Treasure Map Garp. Now, of course, these are not the end-all, be-all teams. I don't advise to be using these teams on especially higher levels of the treasure map, but you know, if you guys want free-to-play options, that's what I'm giving you in this video today. And of course, you know, if you have the better units, you should be replacing them for some of the higher boosters that you may potentially be getting, or you know, if you want to be running something a little bit more efficient, you could run some more speed farming teams. And I'll show you guys my teams after I do my treasure map pulls, which will be in a couple days time, because I'm personally not pulling on part 1. I'm waiting for part 2, because that's when Vivi and Rebecca are going to be boosted on the banner. So I'm going to be pulling on part 2, and so that means it's going to be a little bit later for you guys to see my video in terms of my teams. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's start things off with actually going through the brand new character that we're all farming for, which is Treasure Map Garp. So he's a Psy Free Spirit fighter. Really cool artwork, actually, by the way. His captain effect is going to boost Free Spirit and fighters by 3.5, which is good. 1.2 health, and allows the crew to obtain recovery slots when you tap with a perfect. That's a really good captain effect, honestly. Really good for a free-to-play captain. Really nothing bad about it at all. It's a pretty solid captain. And a 13-turn cooldown will make the crew's Psy and recovery slots have matching slot effects for 1 turn. Changes the crew's slots into Psy and recovery, okay. And then if your captain is a fighter / a striker or a shooter, boost the crew's attack by 1.75 for 2 turns, and if the captain is Free Spirit, Driven, Cerebral, or Powerhouse, reduce the charge time by 2 turns. That's a really, really good special. Does he have the crewmate ability to resist special reverse? He does, by 2 turns. That is exceptional, dude. And he also boosts the Free Spirit and fighter characters' base stats by 30. This is really good. I'm actually kind of impressed with this unit. He gives you a full border matching slots and a 1.75 attack boost. Remember that he is a Free Spirit and fighter captain, but hey, Free Spirit and fighter are really good. He's a Psy unit, works really well with some other good units in the game. There's literally nothing bad about this unit, honestly. I mean, you could kind of nitpick and say he doesn't get rid of block orbs, but I mean, this is a super solid unit. And you see, he does have fear resistance as well, by 5 if you limit break expand him. I actually might limit break expand this treasure map unit, because that means that if he gets feared, that he doesn't have his special reverse thing mitigated, which is really good, actually. I like this unit a lot. He does have just a regular support, 7% HP and attack to Luffy, Sabo, and Ace. And let's see what he does in Rumble. So in Rumble, 27 CT, 1 enemy for 3,000 damage, and enemies for 1,200 damage. That's interesting. I don't know if I would ever use that, but it's interesting. And then Free Spirit characters get level 5 speed, level 2 defense. That's not bad. He's not too bad at all. I definitely think he's much better in regular content comparatively to PvP, but still pretty nice. There is a set chance for the character to appear in the first battle of an encounter or battle rush in Grand Line League and New World League. So there you go. So there's a hidden boss. So the secret boss in this map, it'll be Garp, and he'll give you, I think it's a guaranteed tablet when he appears, and he will also, I think he maxes out your specials as well, so you don't have to do any stalling throughout the adventure, which is kind of nice. So let's go ahead and get over to the treasure map crew, and we're going to be breaking down each of these individual boss fights and giving you guys recommended teams in terms of free-to-play units for each of these boss fights. So the first of the battle rush bosses, remember this is the 4 lower bosses first, is Brownbeard, and Brownbeard is very typical of other treasure maps that we see. He's basically one of those ones where he's an int character, he has like no HP, the scaling is awful, you can just use the free-to-play size Straw Hats. He has 3 turns of increased defense, which this Frankie character can get rid of, and he also gives you a color affinity boost. Luffy's your attack booster, and then you can run just whatever you want. So I'm just giving you guys an opinion here. You know, you can run, you know, the full-size Straw Hats. If you have better units, you can do that. If you've got speed farming stuff, you can do that. There's lots of options here. Brownbeard is not going to be a big issue at all. Really low HP, so not really too much I need to talk about for Brownbeard. But moving on to Rayleigh. So with Rayleigh, we're using this team here, and going over to his quest guide, Rayleigh is an int character for this boss fight, and the recommended characters that they're suggesting here are the Kizuna Hawkins, Rare Recruit Neptune, and also Frenosuke. I'm not really too sure why they're even recommending Frenosuke in the first place, considering his special actually doesn't really help here. You can see you get a full board of unfavorable slots, and then he gives you 5 turns of damage threshold on the enemy side of the field. Now, the Hawkins can actually remove that. However, I will be using him in a later team, which is why I'm not using him here, because remember, Hawkins is going to be a 1.35 point booster, and you want to be using your 1.35 point boosters on, obviously, the better bosses to get the most points out of them. But this team is still going to have no troubles whatsoever, because for the damage threshold, we can use Colosseum Dogstorm to get rid of that, and he also gives our Strength and Psi characters a 2x attack boost. Unfortunately, Dogstorm, for some reason, is considered a 1.1 times point booster. Literally every other Colosseum unit that's boosted, actually, there's a couple of the lower ones, I think Colosseum Foxy as well is also considered a 1.1, but for all like the Chaos difficulty Colosseums, I have no idea why Dogstorm is considered 1.1. I feel like that's probably a mistake. So, you know, shafted once again. But for the other units here, we've got the Christmas Nami, which can change those badly matching slots into matching. And then Jinbei is a really good captain and also gives us color affinity. And then Zora is an orb booster for our side team. And then Boa is a chain locker. So you can shuffle these units around as you like, but Nami's great for changing those slots. And Dogstorm's good for an attack boost and also getting rid of the damage threshold. And this shouldn't have any troubles whatsoever against the Rayleigh boss fight. Moving on to the third boss here is going to be Sengoku. Sengoku is a dex boss, so you want to be building a team predominantly of strength units. They are suggesting to use Kid here, and on Battle 5 you can see you get a full board of bomb slots, you get Despair, you get middle row bind, and you get bottom row paralysis. So if you guys remember how Kid works, he changes bomb slots into matching, and then depending on what debuff is on your team at the time, you'll get a boost from that. So if you've got, I think it's, yeah, bind, you get an attack boost, Despair, you get an orb boost, paralysis, you get a color affinity boost. So the way that this works is that Kid's a phenomenal captain, is a 3.75 booster to strength, and when you launch his special, you're going to get all of his boosts. You're going to get an attack boost, orb boost, and color affinity just with Kid alone. So filling out the rest of the team with utility is going to be the way around it, because Kid doesn't actually provide any utility with his special. It's just, you know, gives you the boost depending on the debuff. So we've got the Treasure Map Lore to get rid of Bind and Despair, Orochi gets rid of Paralysis, and the other two units aren't really there for anything that much. I mean, you can use Oven to change your slots around, but you're going to get a full board of slots anyway with Kid's special ability. So that's that. I mean, like, this is a very easy boss fight if you have Treasure Map Kid, which all of you guys should have. If you only are just getting into the game now or didn't get a chance to farm Kid, it's going to be a lot harder to play this map for sure, or for this specific boss, so you will have to change your team out a little bit, but Kid is basically the best unit for this fight. Moving on to the final of the Battle Rush bosses is going to be Whitebeard. Now, if you guys do not have 6+ Blackbeard, this fight is actually going to be kind of difficult. So this is why I'm suggesting this is a free-to-play team, of course, but if you have 6+ Blackbeard, you want to be using him as the captain, or at least as the friend captain at the very, very least, because of the effects that you're going to be seeing here. So this boss is a quick unit, so you want to be building a dex team around that. So the suggested units here, you've got Blackbeard, you've got Kobe, and you've got Barto. Barto's a really good captain, by the way, for this team. So you see that you get a full board of block slots, you'll get 10 turns of Rainbow Shield, and also Whitebeard will have a slot barrier. So of course, Blackbeard as a captain is going to completely evade the increased, or the percent damage reduction, the Rainbow Shield, and he completely evades the barriers. So he allows you to bypass that with normal attacks, and Blackbeard's special, of course, will change block slots into matching. For the rest of this team, he's just trying to fill it out for Blackbeard's condition. So this team is centered around utilizing Blackbeard as a friend captain. Make sure to keep that in mind. Blackbeard must be a friend captain for this particular team to work. But we've got Kobe for an attack boost. You've got Colosseum Kid, just because we can fit him on the team. We also have the Colosseum Sober Mask, and also Kamazo. Kamazo is a pretty good orb booster, so that's nice to have. So this team, you remember, if you're using Blackbeard, you need a fighter, shooter, slasher, and a striker on your team. So we've got striker Barto, we've got fighter Kobe, shooter Kid, and slasher Kamazo. So all the conditions are met for this team to work. No problems at all. So now that we've done through those Battle Rush bosses, let's go ahead and move on to the final boss fight, which is going to be against Garp, of course. So Garp, you're going to be having to deal with a couple of different things. So the recommended units here are obviously all the boosters and also Shirahoshi and Mancherry. So on the fourth fight here is you're going to be encountering Cody. Now Cody is int and he gives you empty slots. He will also despair you and also give you burn. So the burn and despair lasts for 5 turns. So we'll be talking about how this team actually gets around it, okay? But moving on to battle 5, you have Garp, who is a strength enemy. He gives you block slots, 3-turn attack down, so you want to be removing that. He blinds you as well. Also, he has a good barrier. You have to hit 2 goods to break his barrier, which isn't too bad. And then also a delay immunity. So this is the team that I'm using here. Now, forewarning, this team will be utilizing V2, Shirahoshi and Mancherry as the friend captain. So ideally with this team is that on stage 4, you're going to be encountering Cody. You want to use Shirahoshi and Mancherry to get the utility to get rid of the burn and the despair. We get the full board of slots and we'll get the chain boost as well. Magellan will give us a conditional boost, helping kill Cody a little bit easier. And then also using Frankie specials so that when we move into the next room, we're going to get his conditional boost, because the final boss Garp does not have a full immunity buff. He actually only has a delay immunity buff. So by using Frankie on stage 4, we can carry his buffs into the final stage to give us that conditional boost. When we reach the final stage, we can go ahead and use Hina to change the block slots into matching, as well as giving us an orb boost. And then we can go ahead and use Weevil to get rid of the attack down, give us an attack boost. And of course, with Frankie, we can carry a conditional boost into that final room. Hawkins isn't really used at all for his special ability, but he is a 3.5 times boost to Striker and Cerebral. He makes size slots matching as well, which is, you know, it's whatever, but 3.5 captain for a free-to-play unit is why we're using him. So we are going to have type advantage with Hina, with also Magellan, and obviously when you use the special ability of Shirahoshi and Mancherry, you'd ideally want to be in the Shirahoshi form to get another quick unit on your team to give you the most type advantage possible against Garp. And that's the way that this team works, so it's pretty straightforward. You will have to deal with blindness though. This team does not avoid the blindness, so you will have to hit, you know, the 2 goods normally and then break through it whilst blinded, which isn't too bad. Hitting goods isn't going to be too difficult. But of course, you will have to focus when you're on that burst turn, of course. So that's the way that this team is working against Garp. So now we're moving on to the final boss, which is going to be against Blackbeard. He is the invasion boss, or the intrusion battle boss. So this is the team that we have here. So let's have a look at not the ability list, but the quest guide. So with this Blackbeard, as we said, he is a quick boss, but the stage prior to that, on stage 2, you will be encountering a strength Van Augur. So you want to have some quick units to deal with Van Augur. You want to have some dex units to deal with Blackbeard. Now, again, the recommended units here are the boosters and also Vivi Rebecca this time. Now, the Battle 1, you want to be building a team predominantly of Striker and Cerebral characters. Those are the characters that are going to be receiving -10 cooldown at the start of the quest, which is very important. Otherwise, your specials will not be ready, and it's going to be very difficult to take down the boss. So on the second battle, as we said, Strength Van Augur is going to be here. We get unfavorable slots or badly matching slots. 5 turn of bind will be inflicted to our crewmates, so our captains are not binded, and also 5 turns of a 1.1 times chain lock. And then the final boss against Blackbeard, remember he is going to be a quick unit, 5 turns of special bind to our captain only, and then 3 turns of resilience and a delay immunity, and that's it. So not really too much to really talk about in terms of the debuffs, but because of that, some of these debuffs are a little bit tricky to get around, but this is the team that I'm suggesting. And once again, forewarning, this team is utilizing a friend captain, Vivi and Rebecca. So the way that this team works is on the second stage, we're going to be using Cody special. Cody gets rid of Bind and Despair, so he's going to remove the bind off of our crewmates, as well as giving us a 1.75 rainbow attack boost. We can go ahead and use Cracker. Cracker gets rid of the chain lock and also gives us a full board of dex slots. He also makes them beneficial to our team. And then also Hina can give us an orb boost. So we've got orb boost and an attack boost and a full board of matching slots. We've got a couple quick units here, but forewarning as well is that Magellan will not be boosted by Kobe's captain effect because he only boosts cerebral units. But if you're using Vivi Rebecca as your captain, as your friend captain, you will get the boost from that. And we have to use Kobe as the captain here because we are using his special ability to get rid of the bind. If he's a crewmate, he's going to be binded, so we can't use his special to remove that bind. There are obviously a lot of other ways you can get around it, but this is just one of the ways you can do it, okay? Then the final boss against Blackbeard, we're going to be going ahead and using the Vivi Rebecca switch to get rid of their special bind, and then using their special to give our striker and cerebral characters a 2x attack and orb boost. And because of their captain ability, all of those type slots will be counted as beneficial to our team. And then we're going to be using Magellan to get us a conditional boost, because once again, Blackbeard does not have a full immunity buff. He actually only has a delay immunity, so we can go ahead and use Magellan, which will inflict a poison conditional, and because it's a poison conditional and he also is inflicted with the poison, it will break through the resilience once we get him down to 1 HP. And that's it, and that's how this team is working. So a pretty decent free-to-play team. Obviously it does rely on the fact that Vivi Rebecca are ridiculously useful to have, and you know, if you do pause on the treasure map, which depending on the situation you may or may not want to do that, you probably want to be replacing some of these units with the boosters if you inevitably pull them. But that is the breakdown of the free-to-play teams that I've recommended for this treasure map. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I think this Garp unit is a really strong unit, so I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on him, leveling him up, getting him maxed out. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video today, and I'll be bringing you guys a video of my personal teams in the coming days, so definitely stay tuned for that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys did, make sure to go ahead and hit the like button. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.